On today's show, Thanos books his vacation to Wakanda. Danny Boyle, will he or won't he actually, maybe, possibly, direct Bond 25? And Netflix is going extreme. This is Collider Movie Talk. And here we go. Happy Friday, everyone. Look at it's the Friday crew. I'm Reilly. I'm in for Mark Ellis, and I'm so happy you decided to join us today on this fine Friday. Perri, Dennis, Rocha, how the hell are you guys?
Great.
Good?
Yeah.
Good. Well, we got to get right to it. I want to get right to this because there's a lot of news that broke. We have a lot of things to discuss and unpack today. But we're going to start with a spoiler alert, everyone. Spoiler alert because there's been a big reveal, a big drop on Entertainment Weekly. We have Thanos. We're looking at Thanos right now. And I know we were looking at a lot of the covers that we saw, all the different characters together. We saw Tony Stark with wings. It looks like he's going into space. And yeah, we can speculate all we want with that. But what the Russo brothers did was they kind of dropped some hints as to why Thanos is going to be in Wakanda. So is that spoiler alert up? Good, because I find it interesting. This is what the Russos let us know. Vision, he's a walking MacGuffin. He is a MacGuffin. So they're going to hide Vision in Wakanda to protect the Infinity Stone that he has, the Mind Stone. And that's why Thanos and his goons are going to get him. I find that interesting. I want to start here. Rocha, what do you think about this plot point just for now? And I want to get into a different conversation there. But what do you think first?
Well, I think if you are a follower of the Avengers comics, you know that what the Avengers do is come together and they always split apart. There's always something that divides them. That's why we get the Mighty Avengers, you get the New Avengers, you get the different kinds of Avengers. There's always all kinds of different teams going on. So the idea of Infinity War being the Avengers already split up in different areas makes a lot of sense to me. And then protecting Vision here. And the rumors are that Thor's going to be in Wakanda as well with Captain America, because it's Captain America's decision to hide Vision in Wakanda. So this makes a lot of sense because of this idea that Wakanda can't be found on the map. So where do you go? Someplace where people can't penetrate it. And even though we did hear at the end of Black Panther that they're going to be more open about communicating, you have to figure out like where that is in the film when they're putting Infinity War together. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll see if they go in and break through and go in. And obviously Thanos will be there. We see in the trailer that he's got the thing going into Vision's head.
Yeah.
But the idea of hiding there I like, because you also have Bucky, you also have Vibranium, you have all this stuff going on, and so we'll see. But people have been talking about the Soul Stone being in Wakanda as well. So where is this gonna go?
Well, that's what everybody was wondering. And what's nice is that first off, we know with Black Panther, Wakanda is now out there.
Yes.
Okay. T'Challa says, "Here we go. I want to help the world. Wakanda. We have technology. We have all these things. So it makes sense that Cap wants to hide Vision because they have an army. They have technology at their disposal." But what I find interesting is that we've seen all of this, Perri, in trailers, now in EW. Did they spoil the movie a little bit with us with all this marketing?
I knew that question was coming my way.
I'll put it into you, Perri.
I mean, it's an interesting thing just to approach it from Rocha's angle first. When I heard this news, I got kind of excited because I think it's a great story point, first off, and I love when I'm busy sitting here thinking, oh, the Soul Stone is why they're there, and then all of a sudden you drop this other bit of information that makes a whole lot of sense but wasn't quite what I expected, because if we keep getting what we expect, then these movies aren't going to be very exciting at all. But that leads me to your question that now I know what's coming. Should I maybe have experienced that reveal in the actual film, which, you know, it's a debatable question. Right now, I'm not so against it because I do have faith in the Russo brothers and the folks behind the film that I don't think they would have dropped something like this if they had nothing else to offer beyond it. So I'm going to hold on to this as a plot point that I'm excited to explore, but I'm expecting more from it, and especially when it comes to the nature of Wakanda right now.
Yeah, and you make a good point, though. We know going into this movie that Vision has an Infinity Stone in his noggin, right? So we know that Thanos is going to come after him. And we did see the trailer. But Dennis, when you read this report, did you have a little bit of a, oh man, or were you like, no, this is cool, I'm interested now, I'm more interested?
I'm a little surprised just because we did assume that the Soul Stone was in Wakanda. We thought it was going to be revealed during Black Panther. That was not the case, and that they're going there to get the Mind Stone from Vision. My question is, how does Captain America, and I'm sure they'll explain this in the movie, how does Captain America know who Thanos is, why he's coming? Like why, like making this move for Vision to go there, being there to protect him. I assume this is probably not going to be a huge spoiler because I think this probably be the end of the first act is probably that. Like even though in the trailer it makes it look like it's huge or whatever, probably end of the first act. So, and then in terms of like the EW poster, or sorry, the covers, they did like 15 covers to like form this big, Thanos is in the middle, and in the background it's like this big A. You know how I feel about EW covers.
Yeah.
Not the greatest.
They're not the greatest.
They're not the greatest. This one was okay. It's a it's a cool idea. The only one, if I still buy magazines, I would probably buy just the Thanos one.
Just the Thanos one? So on a scale of 1 to 10, since you hate the EW covers most of the time, what would you give this?
It's not as awful as some of the other ones. I give it a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. All right. Well,
it's not bad. It's not.
Well, that's not good either.
No, it's not good either. No. But
yeah, well, when I read this report, I kind of went, cool. I like it when the Russo said a living MacGuffin. Yeah. Which is really cool to think about. And I agree with kind of what everybody's kind of postulating here is that it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And the Russo brothers, we can trust them. There's a lot that I'm sure that they're holding under. They're big on spoilers. That's why they moved it back a week. Maybe not the only reason, but they moved the release back a week so it can release worldwide so that everybody's going to go on Twitter and go, oh my God, can you see this? And somebody's like, damn it, Yeah. So that's a good thing. I'm excited about that. But my question, I'm wondering, like, with the spoiler culture now, I mean, would you guys have preferred nothing?
No.
Just absolutely nothing? Or it's like, because I like talking movies, and I like when this culture kind of started, I would visit sites every day to get spoilers, and then as I got more involved in this, I was like, now I'm getting a little, don't do that, and charting these marketing campaigns where like, you're showing me everything. But with this, I'm kind of in the middle going like, cool, pump the brakes now. We've seen enough. I don't want to know any more. We haven't even gotten another trailer yet. Rocha, are you going to be tuned away from everything, or is this, par for the course?
No, because any spoiler we'll see, we still don't see the movie. And the Russo brothers, they've earned enough credit, I think, with all of us who love these movies, that no matter what spoilers we see ahead of time, it's not going to come out the way we think, and so and we won't see it in the context of the movie till we see the movie, and it's going to work. There's so many times where I've seen spoilers before movies, and I go into the movie and I'm like, oh, here comes that scene, and then the way it's framed and set up in the movie, it's really awesome to watch. So for me, I don't have a problem with that, and I'm like, I think we all do this. We all want just a little bit of extra information,
just a nug.
Yeah, just a little bit of nugget, just to get us excited more and more. And they know what they're doing. They already started the campaign. The Black Panther, it's going to cross that billion by Sunday. So they started a couple days ago that 50 days until Infinity War. So they know what they're doing. They've planned this all out. They set this all up, and I trust Marvel. They give you just a little bit. Like, you get the hammer, you'll get him hiding in. What does that give you, though? It's not a big spoiler that he's hiding in Wakanda. They're all a team, so they're going to figure things out. So it's just, to me, it just gets me more and more excited to see what's coming down the road. It isn't like Doomsday showing up in the Batman vs. Superman trailer, where you're like, oh, well, I guess that's happening.
Yeah.
But this is something else.
What do you guys think about that image, though? Because some
Which
of
one?
The one with Thanos and the moon.
I love it.
Because I was not there at Hall H when they showed that footage.
Right.
And,
but you only see him doing this. You don't see
exactly.
him,
What I'm
doing
saying
it.
is a lot of people who were there saw the actual footage and kept talking about it. I haven't seen that footage, but now I see this picture.
Yeah.
Is that too spoilery?
Well, it's a challenging landscape to navigate. And I know for me, when I hear information like that, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I know it's going to bother other people out there. So I think really all you can do, especially with internet culture right now and the constant influx of all this information about stuff we haven't even seen yet in the full feature, it's about gauging your own personal response and trying to steer clear of it as best as possible. It's about the folks who like it, maybe not flat out going on Twitter and saying, hey, this happened. And then it's also on the marketing team. And it's actually a really interesting and almost artful field to navigate right now, because you have to figure out a way to best sell your movie with your money shots. But actually a great example of this is Star Wars Rebels, because I forget which episode it was, but it was for the block of episodes that just wrapped out the season. We got a little, pre-release teaser, and there was a money shot in that teaser, and it was so good and so powerful, and it capped off that little trailer so well. When I saw it in context of the full episode, it was even more powerful. I wasn't busy sitting there thinking it was going to come, but when it finally did appear on the screen, then I was like, wow, now there's even new meaning to this visual that's so strong. So I think it's about taking a visual like that and ideas like what's going on in Wakanda and just making sure that you use it in a way that gets people intrigued and excited to see your movie. But there has to be a lot more to it than that. And I think I have enough faith in them to believe that that's the case.
Right. You bring up a great point that it's an art form now in marketing, because everybody's like, there's a spoiler culture out there where I was yelled at after a movie fight's appearance for spoiling the Deadpool trailer. The trailer. I had to talk about the trailer, and somebody yelled at me for spoiling it. And I was like, sorry?
Yeah.
I don't know. So there's that extreme. Then there's this, which is, I think, like you said, and Dennis, you brought up, we have the moon image. We don't know what it looks like. I didn't see it either. All I know is everybody was like, Thanos threw a moon! And I'm like, what? I want to see this. And now we have, okay, we're getting that little tease right now. But maybe this is just the beginning of the movie. They're setting up the movie, and they're walking that line now. But where do marketing people, they go, okay, do we have to show more? Because people are now asking, with the EW articles, are we getting another trailer? Do we need another trailer? Dennis, do you think we need another trailer?
I do, but I actually hope they don't show that moon footage. It's nice. Okay, they have that image. We get a little tease of it. We heard about it. They should not show that in the trailer because I want to see that for the first time in motion in the movie itself. So they should, but keep it just like how they did the first one. If you watch the first trailer, much like, and we talked about this on another episode of Movie Talk, how Marvel has become like Star Wars now. You don't have to do the story now. You just throw up some images just like the first one. You throw up a thing and everyone just starts speculating, and that's enough. And that's what I want the second trailer to be.
Yeah,
the covers of the trailer. The new covers are essentially another trailer because you do get the new armor from Thor. You get the Bucky looking back to his old armor from when he was on the Harlem Commandos. So you get these little things, these little hints throughout these covers that are kind of mini trailers themselves. Captain America has new armor because he's Nomad now. So you get all these, and then you get the wings from Tony Stark. So you know he's going to go into space. Is he going to go and confront the Guardians of the Galaxy or confront Thanos? You get Spider-Man in his Iron Spider outfit. And I agree with Dennis, those covers. Thanos is the only one.
I didn't mind him that much this time.
The Black Panther one is terrible.
Black Panther.
Yeah, especially coming off of that. That was the most. We were like, really? Can't we throw a little bit more behind that?
I mean, it's so cool. How do you make it uncool? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, well,
EW will find a way.
So with these covers and everything, what was interesting is they did some interesting pairings.
Yeah.
So do you guys think that has anything to do with the plot of the movie, or is it like they all just kind of wandered in after having some coffee and just stood there and there's like, oh yeah, I'm with Mantis, so I'm going to take a picture? What do you think? Does it clue us in on any plot points with these pairings?
I was thinking about that a lot, and I think it might be reading too much into it at this point, at least.
I never read into anything too much.
A couple of the pairings made sense. A couple of them, it felt like I was like constructing narratives and making a little bit of a stretch. But just quickly about EW covers, I think a big part of the problem with EW covers, or at least how they've evolved over the years, is they just feel like cutouts of these characters, whereas there's so many other great magazine covers that just have layers to them and they have texture
Empire
to them,
magazine
and
has awesome covers.
they feel artistic and they're pretty. And I used to love Entertainment Weekly when I was young. I still love reading the content, but I used to keep the covers because they were beautiful, and now they don't really. I want these. These are the ones I want.
Yeah, those are cool. Do you remember the EW covers for Terminator Genesis?
Oh, do I?
They were the worst ever. They were the worst ever. And so all I ask for this next story, Terminator, is that you don't go EW route. You go Empire, because let's get into that. The Terminator reboot, sure. Variety reports that Mackenzie Davis, Blade Runner 2049's Mackenzie Davis, is in negotiations to join Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Tim Miller's reimagining, retcon. They're picking up after Terminator 2. And what the reports are saying is that Mackenzie Davis is going to be a soldier assassin. Perri, we did this news yesterday. I know you're really excited for her to be in this movie. Has anything changed in your mind as to who she could be playing?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to throw that at you.
Yeah, because the soldier assassin thing. No, I think it is probably very much a traditional human soldier assassin character, or at least that's what I'm betting, despite this image behind me right now.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's
awesome.
pretty good actually.
That's really good.
Yeah. The only reason that I kind of had a second thought when I was answering that question is because I'm like, oh, I don't know, kind of looks right.
Yeah.
Also because I don't know, just the thought of teaming her up maybe with that other character that they're teasing. I don't know. This is just my instincts after reading a casting article. Who really knows what this is about? All I care about right now is that every single announcement that I've got about this new Terminator reboot and new Terminator franchise that they want to launch gets me more and more excited to actually see it. Because going into the first breaking news about it, I didn't care, especially after Genesis. Like, just let it lie. Let me enjoy the movies I love, and let's forget about this. Then you put Tim Miller. All right, I kind of like that. We got James Cameron coming back. We got Arnold Schwarzenegger. We got Linda Hamilton. Now, this was the casting I needed. We were talking a little bit about it on the news video. She's a star. There is something about Mackenzie Davis, that extra spark that will command screens no matter what. And even though she has been in things like Blade Runner and The Martian and some bigger productions, *Halt and Catch Fire*, if you're not watching *Halt and Catch Fire*, watch her in that. But she is something else. So I hope that now, if this all goes through, they go into productions, she locks the role and everything, that the rest of the movie is up to her level, and that whatever is in the script, whatever this soldier assassin character winds up being, gives her something really good to work with.
Yeah, I love the casting after being pointed out. There's like, oh yeah, I have seen her in Blade Runner 2049. But it gets me thinking about the Terminator franchise, and they've fooled us a lot. Not fooled us, but they've always cast some really interesting people. Like Jason Clarke in Genesis. And then they go, guess what? He's a Terminator. Sam Worthington. Guess what? He's a Terminator. Or Dennis, are we going to get a guess what? She's a Terminator?
I don't know.
I hope not.
I hope not as well. And soldier assassin, to me, if you're saying soldier, that doesn't mean a Terminator, at least in my eyes. Soldier means, you know, it's a person who's on a mission. Now, whether or not she's the leader or not, I like her. You know, she was in The Martian, Blade Runner 2049, that Black Mirror episode everyone's talking about. Yeah. For me, it was interesting because you guys did the news story yesterday, and sometimes we peruse the comments, and there was a lot of comments in there talking about, you know, like, oh, they're kind of forcing this woman to be the lead role in here. What the hell are you talking about? Did you watch the first Terminator?
Yes.
It's Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton.
Go, Dennis.
The second one is a trio of John Connor, Sarah Connor, and the Terminator. There's a show called Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles where the woman is the lead role. I mean, this is James Cameron. He had Ripley in Aliens. He had Linda Hamilton featured heavily in the second. I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, so I think it's a good casting. I'm excited for. I'm probably more excited for this movie than most people because a lot of people were turned off from Jenny Smith, as Mark Ellis calls it.
Yeah.
I love the Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles story, so I love this franchise. So them bringing it back with James Cameron and Tim Miller, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm excited too. The more I think about it, getting Cameron back is great. Tim Miller, great. I like the idea of, it's Linda Hamilton that gets me excited. We know Arnold's coming back. He's always he wants to be a Terminator at like 95 years old. He wants to be in a rocking chair shooting people in the face. But with Linda Hamilton coming back, it reminds me of the Halloween redo where they're bringing Jamie Lee Curtis back and they're retconning, and I like that because you get a clean slate and you can explore more stories. But with Mackenzie Davis, Rocha, Dennis brought it up. Is this like the next Linda Hamilton? Is this the strong woman that's going to be the baton handing off from Sarah Connor to Mackenzie Davis?
Listen, I don't mean to piss in your Cheerios, but I don't 100% agree with everybody on this panel. And
then get out.
Here's what I'll say. God forbid I'm dissenting to opinions.
It's my show today.
Here's the deal. Well, it's our show, Mark. But what I'll say is this, because I love you all. Here's the deal. I was not. I was with Perri. I was not excited about this announcement because they've been messing it up for a number of years now with these constant sequels or whatever you want to call them, reboots or whatever they're trying to do there. And the idea of Schwarzenegger coming back really didn't excite me at all. But Tim Miller got me excited. Cameron Half and Half got me excited because why is he going back to his greatest hits? I'm going to go back and do Terminator. I'm going to go back and do Avatar. Like, do something new. And so he's going back and do this. So, okay, maybe a little steadying hand to be nice. But Mackenzie Davis, *Halt and Catch Fire*, it's a fantastic show. She's great on the show. But we need to be a little realistic here. She's not led a film. Right? This is a huge undertaking. She has played ensemble in Blade Runner 2049. Nice. And she had that role where she was having the sex with Ryan Gosling, with the thing that was happening. And then we had her in a smaller part in The Martian.
What
right?
happened? What was that?
Yeah, you'll see. When you see the film, you'll see.
What film? I missed it.
Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, smaller part in The Martian.
Like said with John Rocha.
And there she was. And there she was. Well, that's what was happening. And I don't know if you watched
Computer
the
sex,
Did you guys watch
Computer
the film?
sex.
No, he literally had sex with her.
Sure.
The computer was the program.
I love
was
this. I love
all right.
that came out.
Anyway, so
I just love the way it came out.
and then the Black Mirror thing is a TV show.
Yeah.
So this is the deal. So this is great casting in terms of I like Mackenzie Davis as an actress, love her on the TV shows, but I haven't seen her lead a movie yet, and this is a massive ask of a jump. So will she do it? We've seen plenty of Bruce Willis did in Die Hard. We've seen it happen before. I'm just reserving judgment a little bit. I would like her to be a Terminator, and there's rumors about they're looking for a Latina lead. So here's my question to all of you. Now that I've done my opinion on this, what do you think John Connor is dead? Do you think there is no John Connor?
Can we just go back to what you were saying before? Sure. Because I think
between your giggles, yes. Tell me, Perri.
that as well. I'm glad I got to pull it together for this, but. She's earned, like her resume, when you look at it, she's earned the chance to jump into a big franchise and take on a big role like this.
I never said she didn't earn it.
No,
I'm saying I'm reserving judgment until I see it.
But still,
it's a big ask.
If we approach every single role like that, every single job like that, we'll never give anybody a chance.
I didn't say she didn't deserve a chance.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you said that, but it's just she's paid her dues, and San Junipero is a lead performance. A lot of the things
on a TV show.
A lot of
but I mean,
it doesn't matter
it's
anymore.
practically a movie.
What matters about that anymore?
Some people transfer, some people don't. That's all I'm saying. You know, it's the truth. Some people can transfer over, some people can't. That's all I'm saying. I love her as an actress. Absolutely love her as an actress. All the TV shows I've seen. I want to see what she can do with this. So I'm reserving judgment just yet, but it doesn't mean I'm not excited about it. I like that she's doing it, but I want to see her as a Terminator. I absolutely want to see her as a Terminator. I want to wash Christina Loken out of my head. I want her to be the Terminator, badass Terminator, and let her be the one that takes Arnold's mantle. Because enough with Arnold, enough already. But my question is, because we're only focusing on Sarah Connor, do we not have John Connor anymore? Because if it's 30 years later or 24 years later, John Connor's what? In his 40s, she would be in her 60s. What are we talking about here? So that's what I want to see.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if we get a casting announcement for John Connor.
Yeah.
But something occurred to me that for Mackenzie Davis, you're bringing up some interesting points, and you're absolutely valid. There's a lot of baggage to this Terminator series that you're getting that kind of take, and you're getting this take over here. It's like we're automatically going, oh my God, we have a lot, like there's so many movies. We have maybe arguably 2 good movies in the franchise, and it was only the ones that Cameron's involved with. So we're hoping that this is good, whether she's a Terminator or not, whether she's the next Sarah Connor or a version or the baton handing off. I'm wondering what the casting is going to be for John Connor. If he's dead, if he's alive, is it the future? Are they sending it back? They have a lot to do to get us back.
And what is this Latina lead they're looking for going to play? What part is she going to play?
And you know what? I was surprised there were conflicting reports on that, because I read one article from a trade that made no mention of that role whatsoever. So initially I'm like, oh, she's just the lead. That's it. She's going to be the new Linda Hamilton. And then you read another report. So that makes me wonder, what is the relationship between these two? Because it does seem like they could be passing the baton to both of these characters. And that could be a really interesting relationship to explore, no matter who is what and is not the other.
Yeah, maybe John sending someone back is the reason he gets killed, because he messes up with the timeline in T2. Sending someone back in T2, sending Arnold back, maybe changes the future, and he does get killed. Sarah Connor has to take over, lead the resistance, finds Mackenzie Davis, finds the Latino lead, and they all bring it. It's certainly possible with Arnold. It's certainly possible.
Well, you bring up
it's crazy, but
they're looking for a Latina actress, and THR came out and said that it's been a fruitless search. They haven't found somebody. They're looking and looking. And I know, Rocha.
I've got 30 actresses I can suggest for you if you're looking for a Latina lead.
They said the same thing about Aladdin in the casting. Yeah. They were like, oh my God, we can't find him. And it's like, Where are you looking? So
Did you see Gina Rodriguez?
I'm
in
going to reserve
Annihilation?
judgment for now. I brought up Daphne Keane yesterday as somebody, but we don't know the age yet. And then Daphne Keane goes off and gets cast in another story. We'll get to that probably on Monday. I'm gonna reserve judgment a little bit as well, and I'm gonna temper everything and go, okay, James Cameron's involved. I love Terminator just like you, Dennis. I'm hoping we get something good. So let's move on. Terminator talk away, because I know there's a story here that two people on this panel really like, and that's David Chase, the creator of The Sopranos, that old TV show on HBO that's one of the greatest of all time.
Old TV show.
Yeah, old TV show. I'm dating myself too, because
I think this is the first time I've been dated on this show.
yeah, there you go. Deadline reports that David Chase is teaming up with New Line Cinema for a feature film, The Many Saints of Newark, which will be a prequel to the popular HBO series, The Sopranos. I know, I never got into The Sopranos. I maybe watched a couple episodes back when it was running, and I always liked it, but there was something, I missed it, so I don't know, not to say mythology, I don't know these characters. I don't know this world other than what everybody's talking about. So I'm going to start, Dennis. You're excited for this?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. But I mean, for someone like you who hasn't watched the series, it's not necessary for you to watch it because it's a prequel.
It's a prequel.
It has connections to the series. It has, Tony Soprano's father, Tony Soprano's uncle, and some stuff that happens, and maybe some stories that he might have told within the context of the television show.
Sure.
But it doesn't. You don't have to watch the TV series to really get into this. So I'm excited that David Chase, I mean, he hasn't really been doing that much since The Sopranos.
Right.
And so now that he's back involved, I thought, we did that news story and it didn't get that much response. I was a little surprised. I thought that more people would be into it. But I mean, I guess maybe people forget, like Sopranos came up at the time when television was taking that jump. Because, you were talking about, TV show actors and movies and whatnot. And to me, that line has been blurred significantly since the time of Sopranos started, where now television shows are just mini movies at this point, at least some of the series, when you're talking about like Game of Thrones, a lot of stuff on HBO. And so I think hopefully people get more excited about it as it comes to fruition. But just the response yesterday was a little disappointing.
Yeah, the response wasn't good. Just based on the numbers, a lot of people, were like, okay, cool. But this is interesting. You brought up something. The Sopranos, it's a brand, right?
Yeah.
They've made movies, HBO's made movies off of their TV shows, Sex and the City and Entourage, okay? But they're calling this The Many Saints of Newark, and we haven't had a lot of mid-budget kind of movies. This is a smaller scale, so maybe this thing should just walk on its own as a drama with gangsters and get the marketing going, like a trailer that looks good, cast that looks fantastic. Rocha, do you think they're going to rely on the name Sopranos? Because when we did the video, we go Sopranos prequel, everybody goes, just lands with a thud. So what do they have to do in the marketing to get people to come see this movie? Make a good movie or rely on the Sopranos name?
Well, listen, you can't deny the fact that Tony Soprano, James Gandolfini passed away. Like, that's huge. That people, if you were talking about a Sopranos movie, you're going to bring back The Sopranos,
Sure.
I guarantee you would have had 40,000 views on that YouTube clip. But unfortunately, we're talking about a prequel. So we're talking about characters they don't know that well, other than Livia, right? They know the mom.
And Junior.
And Junior, right. But we don't know them in younger versions. There were like 3 episodes where the younger versions of Johnny Boy, which is Tony's father, and Junior and Livia were involved. His Down Neck, I think Fortunate Son and In Camelot, something like those are the ones that dealt with, those are the episodes that dealt with them. The thing is, we don't know them that well. So I'm not surprised, because if we're not going to get Paulie Walnuts, we're not going to get Silvio, we're not going to get, Junior as an older guy doing the subterfuge, we're not going to get Livia, we're not going to get the older Livia messing with Tony. And Tony, according to the timeline in Sopranos, was born in 1959. This is set in the 60s, early 60s, with the New York race riots. So he's putting it in a very combustible timeline where the Italians and the blacks or African Americans at that time were it's literally in the log line, at each other's throats, race riots. This is what forces the Italians to move out into the suburbs, is where Tony gets raised in the suburbs. So we're not going to get a 15-year-old Tony. We're going to get like a baby Tony or an 8-year-old Tony at most. And so that also removes a little bit. So I think this is going to depend really powerfully on the casting. And if they get the casting right. Because the people who played him in the show are obviously older, so they probably wouldn't return to play those parts. So you'd have to recast this whole thing and start from scratch. And it feels a little bit like Bronx Tale. Remember Bronx
Yeah,
Tale?
yeah.
Right? It's also the same thing, like the race relations going between the areas, the sections that were black versus the sections that were Italian. That was all like, it was almost kind of pseudo Romeo and Juliet and that thing, also set against a gangster backdrop. So the idea of gangster movies excite people, but I'm not surprised that the views were a little low because a prequel of The Sopranos doesn't get people excited. If you were able to do it with Gandolfini still alive, that would get people excited.
Well, what I get from it is there's some things that pop in my mind. I know Gangs of New York was set way back, but race riots and race wars, so there's that element. Then I think Godfather, back in the 60s, dealing with gangsters, or even further back with Godfather. So that gets me excited. David Chase, though, hasn't directed a movie since a long time.
Not
Perri.
Fade Away,
Yeah.
Right. So who would you suggest direct this movie to get people excited?
Yeah, because he's picking the director.
Yeah, there's no director, but we need to get one. So who would you pick?
That's a big question to just come up with
I
an
threw
answer
it
off
right
the top
at
of my
you
head.
so we could watch Perry's head
I'll-
explode
Perri.
on
I'll
the
talk in
movie top.
circles for a quick minute, just
Okay.
until I get there. But as someone who grew up watching The Sopranos, every single episode of The Sopranos, but I haven't revisited any of The Sopranos since watching it live with my family every single night, I think this is probably the perfect happy medium to get me to want to see a Sopranos movie where it should be able to tie into what I know and love from the series, but it could also be a standalone separate thing with a different backdrop, different characters to focus on. This, to me, is the smarter way to increase a brand, continue an existing franchise or a TV series or something like that, where you can make something that stands on its own but still has value when you go and you revisit episodes of The Sopranos. So
Right, yeah, absolutely.
I do like that approach. That also didn't help me get anywhere closer to figuring out a director option.
Right.
My Rolodex is just like picturing all of the most recent directors, so I'm going to end up name dropping some obvious people. I don't know. Someone else go first.
Coogler.
How about Brian De Palma?
Coogler.
Coogler.
If you're going to
Coogler.
do a race riot movie, I
That's a
think
great-
having a black director to bring some sensitivity to those issues
I love
would
that.
be powerful.
I love that. Do you think Black Panther 2 will get in the way if there's a possibility of Coogler?
I got a feeling Coogler will vacillate between both. He'll do smaller films and bigger films because
feel
he's
like
an
that too,
artist,
yeah,
and I like
yeah.
that. And so I think he'll do that. So this could possibly speak, and it would certainly jack the views up and get people more excited about it.
That's
So-
true. Perry, have you decided? Nope. Dennis, how about you?
It's a good pick. It's a good pick, but like I purposely didn't say Ryan Coogler because of course you'll say Ryan Coogler because he's a hot name right now.
Sure.
But he would. That doesn't mean he wouldn't be great directing something like this. I mean, really, at this point, I would entrust just about anything in his hands.
Yeah.
What about, oh my God, Catherine Bigelow. To kind of to get a do-over. You know what I mean? For Detroit really didn't do that well.
Good point.
So what if we get her sensibilities, bring some gritty Zero Dark 30 to it, and set with Detroit sensibilities? I got a resounding no from everybody here on the panel. Everybody kind of went,
No, I mean, I like Detroit. I like what she did with it. I just don't know if this will be that style because I'm assuming the pacing will be more like the HBO series where instead of there's like an action or tension element, it's more of a slow burn.
Yeah.
And that's why I wonder if this movie might not be best suited to be a HBO movie. Because look what happened with the Entourage movie, which I actually enjoyed. I watched the series. I enjoyed the film.
Yeah, I
did
did
nothing at the box office.
No,
right?
it didn't.
And people felt like they had to watch the series. And even though it's a prequel, I think people are still going to see the name and go, well, I didn't like you. Like, I didn't watch the series, so I'm not going to watch the movie, even though you don't have to. So I have a feeling this is better suited to be an on-television HBO movie.
well, yeah, they say right now it's New Line Cinema, so it's going to be in theaters. I don't, I like the name of it. We're not getting The Sopranos, fill in the blank. It's, we're getting a name. So it's going to be interesting to see how it does, who directs it, who they cast it. That's going to make a big difference. So
I have
let's-
two
Yeah.
names.
Oh my God, Perry's
Perri,
back.
go Perri.
Yeah.
Two. She goes
figured
from
it.
0
Go,
to
Perri.
2.
Yeah. Anton Fuqua.
Ooh, good
sure.
choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
That's a good choice.
think,
Good choice.
I think that's my favorite choice, and only because I could see it in the graphics behind me, Francis Lawrence, because I love the intensity that he brought to Red Sparrow. So I don't know. I would kind of would like to see what he would do with material like this.
I like those choices too. And, a director's very important for these types of movies. especially for Bond 25.
Hey-o.
Hey-o. Look at
Nice.
that.
Transition.
Transition. Not as genius as Mark Ellis, but it's whatever it is. So will he or won't he? That's what I'm asking, because Danny Boyle has been rumored for Bond 25. Then he took on the project All You Need Is Love, and everybody was like, nope, that's out now. Bond 25 needs to start shooting to hit a November 2019 release date. But then all of a sudden, Screen Crush, via Screen Crush, the Daily Mail reporter is saying that Danny Boyle will direct next 007 film, Bond 25, late this year after shooting All You Need Is Love for working title, as long as the Bond screenplay by John Hodge meets approval. Okay, meets approval. What does that mean? We know that his Trainspotting writer is working on this story.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go do his passion project, and then this is saying no. They're gonna wait for him. Like, that was our question.
Yeah.
Are they going to wait for him and wait for Danny Boyle to get this because they want a big name to send Daniel Craig out? Is this confirmation? Can we trust this now, Rocha, that Danny Boyle is in?
I feel like you can, and this Daily,
None of the trades have said
Right.
this is it.
But this guy seems to have some really insider information and source.
He's one of the Bond experts.
Yeah. And then
over there.
his stories almost always pan out for Bond stuff.
Okay.
So I'm not surprised here. What's interesting is they still set the release date as 2019.
19. Yeah.
If you're going to shoot another movie and then start Bond, there's no way you're
Well, I
having that
think
out by
that was
2019.
one of Danny Boyle's other requirements or requests,
Right.
that they push the release date.
Yeah, so they'll do that. But Daniel Craig is a big fan of Danny Boyle. He's been pushing for him behind the scenes. So if Daniel Craig, your star, is pushing for you, then the studio is going to acquiesce to a degree and let you and wait a little bit so you can come back. My concern is it only makes Craig older, and that worries me for the action stuff. That worries me for the other stuff, and also. Like, he was cantankerous coming out of this last experience. You know, he said, I'd rather like crawl through broken glass than do another Bond. Right. So how much of that has been dissipated?
Until money, back
until
to
the Brinks truck.
Which might have been a play for more money. Who knows? And I still defend Spectre. I like Spectre. I know a lot of people don't, but I like Spectre. So I want to see him do it again. Will we get the return of the actress from Blue is the one, Leah Seydoux?
Yeah.
Will she come back? Because they've shown a propensity with Craig to keep the same love interest through, like with Vesper, with Eva Green through 3 movies and all this kind of stuff. So will Leah come back as well? So it'll be interesting. I think if they do that, I think Danny Boyle's the guy to go with that, because he does a great job with these relationship movies, Slumdog Millionaire, what have you. He has a nice touch, but still has that 28 Days Later vibe to do the action and do the intensity. So, and he said he's doing a new kind of Bond. So this excites me. Coming off of Spectre, which Spectre was a callback to the old 60s and 70s Bonds, where he was more promiscuous and playful, all those kinds of things, and women fell all over him. And you had Blofeld. So I understand people's hate for Spectre, but this could be the right way forward, and I think he's the right choice.
Well, I like this. You said something. This is a different Bond movie.
Yeah.
So we know that Danny Boyle was directing an Olympics thing with Daniel Craig,
Yes.
and that's where he came up with the idea. But this new series of Bond movies with Daniel Craig have done something very different from the past. They've been connected.
Yep.
And that's never really been done in the Bond franchise, because it's always a standalone adventure, a different Bond woman, a different adventure, a different mission. And these are all connected. Could Daniel Craig have wanted to sign on because it's just a Bond movie, and we're not forgetting these other movies? We're not going to connect it. We're going to do its own thing. And Dennis, would you want that? Would you want its own Bond movie to see Daniel Craig out, not really mentioning anything in the past?
I don't really care either way. I'm more excited that Danny Boyle is involved. Look, Spectre, I didn't hate Spectre, but it was a huge disappointment coming off of Skyfall, which, which
Skyfall's the greatest one.
Yeah, was fantastic. So I feel like his maybe renewed interest in playing this character has a lot to do with Danny Boyle doing it. And we did a news story on this before, and I said the right choice would be for them to wait. And I didn't think they were going to do it. So I was wrong there. Like, they did decide to wait. And I think that's a great move, because that means they're committed to making sure that Daniel Craig's last appearance as Bond is going to go out with a bang. Because I know Danny Boyle's he's going to bring it.
Yeah, and so Perri, when you say, do you think they're going to move this release date to accommodate Danny Boyle? Because they announced November 9th, I believe, 2019. So is that going to stay on the calendar like that?
I wouldn't think so, because even if it doesn't pan out for Danny Boyle, they still have a lot of other work to do on another version of the story, and that's a very short window to deliver such a significant film that's part of a franchise. So I think that's the most appealing thing about this story to me, is the idea of them wanting a specific filmmaker and doing what they need to get the best filmmaker and the best story for the job, and not rushing it to get another Bond movie in front of the public eye. But I feel like that tweet was just so similar to the last story that we heard about this too, where it was almost just repeating the same information that, I don't know, when it first dropped, I was like, oh, like this is going to be a sure thing. And when I really sat down and thought about it and read the last article that was published on this topic, it does sound like a repetition of information. So even though this is the way I want things to go, I'm not ready to say, oh, like, I'm going to get my Danny Boyle Bond movie, and I'm not going to get too hyped about it just yet. But I'm certainly going to keep my fingers crossed.
I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, too. I think Danny Boyle is one of the best filmmakers working today. I mean, and I look at Trainspotting 2. He was able to do something very special with the movie, revisiting that. Trainspotting is one of my favorite movies. And to come in and do Trainspotting 2 and really knock it out of the park like that makes me excited. I want to see his Bond movie, and I do want to see his All You Need Is Love movie with Richard Curtis, because I love Love Actually. So we'll see. I'm going to cross my fingers that this happens, and move on to our last story, because Rob Liefeld's Extreme Universe, this is big. This for me is a big, big, big deal. For Netflix, they have announced Extreme Universe. According to Deadline, Netflix is attempting their own brand of a shared universe picks by making a 7-figure rights deal with Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld's Extreme Universe series of comics. And they're tapping Akiva Goldsman to set up a high-end, what do they say? A high-end writer's room. That's funny. A high-end writer's room to create a shared universe like he did with the Transform. Oh, boy. I know.
Different type of high. I think
Stop
it's a
it, you.
different. Yeah, I think it's a different type of high. There.
Cut out.
Yeah,
Cut it out. Cut it out.
Different high-end. But, okay, Akiva Goldsman aside, he does good work, set up a good writer's room. It's Netflix. Netflix is now really making moves to make this is a shared universe of comic book characters. Now, granted, they're not Marvel, they're not DC. So that's my question. That's a big thing. We've seen shared universes work with Marvel. They kind of created the whole, I mean, I know they didn't really create the idea, but they really have done something special with it. And we know that some of DC films have worked and some haven't. And that they're going back to kind of like the Joker origin movie. They want to start telling some stories that are away from the shared universe. But here's Netflix honing in on this. Rocha, what do you think they need to do? First off, do you even know these comics?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so what do they have to do, in your opinion, to really knock it out of the park, to have a shared universe on Netflix that can compete with the likes of a Marvel, even a Star Wars, a DC, and even Transformers that they're trying to get out there and reboot?
Well, I think those are fair comparisons, Mark, but I think it's a tall task, because I think the more apt comparisons are what Marvel did with Guardians of the Galaxy. These smaller characters that the main public doesn't know that much about.
Great
Man,
point. Yeah.
Even Iron Man to a degree. So because as Dennis and we were talking off camera, Dennis mentioned like some of the more main ones that he's known for are not listed in the articles as saying, Sentry, or is it Sentry, Prophet, or
Supreme,
Prophet, Supreme, right?
And Youngblood.
Yeah, and Youngblood. Those are all not necessarily mentioned in any of the trades as being the heroes they're going to focus on. So they're not even going with their top tier initially. They're going with this lower tier to see if they can bring them out. And these are R-rated comics to a degree. Okay. And so I think what Netflix saw with the Marvel blueprint, with Punisher, with Jessica Jones, and a little bit with Daredevil, but mostly Jessica Jones and Daredevil Punisher, is they're willing to go into the darker areas, right? Jessica Jones about sexual assault, Punisher's about PTSD from the war and how that can affect people, bombing, death. All of this is through the Netflix show. So to me, that was like a dry run, and now they're going to go more extreme, no pun intended, with Rob Liefeld to go into this universe. So this excites me. If they can make it work in a movie form and make a universe, this excites me, because one of the great things about getting older as a superhero comic book fan is the more mature themes that creep into these books. Kingdom Come, Dark Knight Returns, even Spider-Man Reign, what have you. They're more mature themes. You can explore them, because that's our reality now in life. And so if they're going to do this with Rob Liefeld, I'm excited.
Okay, well, but
it's a tall task.
It is a tall task. The characters that they did announce, Brigade, Bloodstrike, Cybrid, Regex, Bloodwolf, and Kaboom.
Kaboom!
I know. Again, I know nothing of these characters, but everything you brought up, I love the comparisons you brought up. Guardians of the Galaxy is a very apt comparison, I think, because we didn't know a lot about them. We're like, Guardians of the who now? And then you see a concept art and you're like, there's a raccoon in a tree. Okay. and then I went and got the comic. So now I have no doubt that they can do something special. It's the directors and the tone and the writers that they're going to get, because Perry with Bright, David Ayer is a great director. I love him as a director, and I'm not faulting him. I'm not faulting the acting or anything. I think the script was a little wonky with Bright, and it didn't do well for critics, but man, did people watch it.
Yeah.
People watch this thing. We're getting a sequel. Perry, did they have to follow the Bright angle, or are they going to try to follow the Marvel TV angle, make it gritty, make it R, and then find a James Gunn to really bring it out, or find a Patty Jenkins, or find somebody that has made these pops, or a Coogler. I'm bringing up all the great directors that made something pop. We need this to pop, right?
That would be ideal, and I don't even necessarily, you could say, go the Bright path or the Marvel path. It's embracing the best qualities of all these things that have become so incredibly popular now, and that's the position that Netflix is in. Netflix has a huge advantage in a number of ways, but I don't think the comic book adaptation is going away anytime soon. I also don't think that end of the industry can be narrowed down to just the most popular Marvel and DC properties for a while. So Netflix is saying, all right, let me get my assets right now, and we got to make something special with it. And, I'll full well admit Bright wasn't the greatest movie ever, but I certainly had some fun with it. So I do want to see them approach world building like they tried to do in that, and I think they could do that here. But really, it's going to come down to quality. If Netflix is going to be a player on the level of all of the big studios, that even though the system is definitely going to get shaken up a little in the coming years, they still have to play at that same level that we've been used to for so long. And I think if they could deliver, especially with something like this, deliver a first installment that really does capture the imagination and the attention of so many people out there and makes you think, oh, they could play with not even necessarily the big boys anymore, or at least the big boys that we're more familiar with, that could be a big deal for Netflix.
Yeah, it could. But my question is, Dennis, are they falling into the trap that a lot of these franchises do, which is like, we're doing a shared universe, and then they forget to make a good movie?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a certain possibility, because when you start looking further ahead, when you're declaring, well, when we get to movie number 7 on this franchise, when they haven't even delivered the first one, it gets a little scary. I have mixed feelings about this for different reasons, though, because, look, Rocha mentioned before, like, they aren't taking the properties that Rob Liefeld is most known for when he created. Because I was a huge comic book fan, especially when the Image.
He was
they
co-founded Image.
Right.
Him and a bunch of other people, like
McFarlane,
McFarlane, Eric Larson,
Larson.
Jim Lee, all of them.
Yeah.
But they kind of had their own separate studios, and he had his own. And one of the things is, I bought Youngblood, I followed his stuff, but he would either create characters or he'd get other creative people in there to kind of do these other things that they were kind of like trying to be Liefeld wannabes, copycats. And so a lot of the other characters didn't get fleshed out until later. You're talking about like Supreme or Prophet, which I don't think are part of this deal, because I think they're probably tied up in other things. And this seems like maybe a smaller section of his universe. So I'm not sure the source material, like, quality is exactly there. I mean, I read Blood Wolf, I read Bloodstrike, like, I read some of those stuff. I don't really remember too much about them. They weren't memorable to me, so I'm just more concerned about the source material quality when it comes to translating this to a Netflix thing.
All I can say is I'm a fan of Liefeld's, and if they bring the fun like Deadpool and make it like that R-rated and have some characters that really pop, because going into Deadpool, I knew the character, but I never really got into the comics that much. So I was able to really enjoy that film because it was a good story. They filmed it right, and that's what Netflix needed to do. Just focus on the first movie, do the story, make it pop, blow us away like an Iron Man or a Guardians of the Galaxy, and make it really something special, because then you'll get more subscribers and you're off and running. But don't look to your 7th movie before you look at your first movie. That's some unwanted advice, I'm sure, Akiva Goldsman and Rob Liefeld. All right, I want to move into Twitter questions. But before we do that, I want to tease something, all right? So we have, I want everybody this weekend to go, I don't know, follow Collider Video on Instagram, because we have something special coming your way. Maybe on Sunday, maybe on Monday, maybe on Tuesday, you're going to see some things on there, some images that you can maybe caption. I don't know, just make something fun, do something fun, write something down there and go, oh, this looks neat, because there might be a new show coming. I don't know, maybe, possibly. I'm teasing. Am I teasing too much, Rocha?
No, you're teasing. Tease more.
Okay.
Give me the EW cover. I want to see spoilers. I want to read the story inside.
All right, yes, we have something special planned. I can't say much more than that, but we are announcing a new show, okay? Something is coming your way, so keep your eye out for Collider Video's Instagram account. Follow that. Check it out on Sunday. We're going to start something there, and you'll hear more as we work into next week. And I also want to announce the Schmodown Live event on March 15th, the El Portal Theater. Tickets are now available. Guys, you can go in the description right now. This is a huge event. This is going to decide a lot for the Schmodown in the future, because if we knock the socks off of this event, we could go on tour. We could look at other areas in the United States that we could go and do this live event, because don't you want to see Rocha yell and scream at somebody on the Schmodown? I don't know, maybe a little evil at JTE. How are you feeling about that event and taking on JTE, Mr. Rocha?
I'm going to whoop that butt today, and I'm going to whoop that butt on the 15th. So you get ready, little man. I'm coming for you. Get ready. Old school outlaw, get ready, little man. Better get everybody around you. Get all that Lions Den. You're going to need them all after I'm done with you.
That's right. Get the Lions Den. And because today, Top 10 is taking on the Patriots in a team title match. This is for the belts. You want all the belts, Rocha. This is going to be a huge match, guys. That's going to drop around 2 p.m. PST later today. I'm excited for this. How you feeling, Rocha?
I'm feeling great.
Good.
Feeling
of course
great.
You are. You're going to go
Last
yell?
few hours of them having the belts. Can't wait.
Ooh, I like that. All right, let's move on to the live Twitter questions. We have maybe time for one, and I want to do this one because I didn't even think about it. But so Tyler Schoon, I hope I pronounced that right. Collider Movie Talk, thoughts on The Last Jedi spoilers and Oscars nominee recap videos a la Kylo Ren fighting the guards. My dad hadn't seen the movie and said, well, I guess he fights the bad guys and turns good. Oh, that sucks. That, like, okay, on one hand, it's been out for a very, very long time. Dad, maybe, you haven't wanted to see it until then? Dennis, do you think that the Oscars spoiled it for this man, and should they have held off of showing that clip?
I mean, it's tough to say. It has been out. I mean, Star Wars is not some like obscure indie film that people don't know about. I mean, if the Blu-ray had already come out, it would have been a lot easier to say, okay, now you had your chance to buy it and watch it at home. It's still, I think the Blu-rays maybe in a week or two or a few weeks from now will be out. So it's a little tough. Nothing's worse though than the Emmys. The Emmys, they pick like clips. They're like spoilers for the TV show. It's like you don't have to pick that. You can put a more generic clip in there, but they always put, like, I remember they did, I follow Game of Thrones, so it's not spoiler to me, but I remember a year that Peter Dinklage was nominated, and they put a clip up there, and it was like a total spoiler clip, and I was like, there's a ton of people watching at home going, okay, great, thanks, you just ruined this for me. So I don't think, it's not on that level, because it is just a visual image, which, trust me, once they start doing the Blu-ray, those clips of that fight are gonna be in those trailers.
Well, Perry, let me ask you this. They actually released that clip from The Last Jedi online to show people, to get them ready. It's going to start streaming soon, and it's going to come out on Blu-ray. So there was that. Do you think was that a reason maybe they showed that to get people for The Last Jedi to go, oh my God, look at that. Kylo Ren turns good. Now I have to go see it. I'm the fifth person in the world who hasn't seen this movie.
Well, it's just, as a huge fan of that scene, a clip like that comes online and I watch it dozens of times over, as though I admittedly haven't watched all the other cuts with music to the background, and I just can't help it. Hearing this, though, makes me a little sad, because I do know that some people out there, for one reason or another, can't get to a theater to see these movies. And, this is meant to sell the Blu-ray, and I understand the appeal of showing a scene like this, but you also don't want to spoil one of the best scenes in the whole movie there. So I don't know. It goes back to what we were talking about the Avengers. It's that fine line to walk. I can understand why a marketing department would lean on that and want to show that. But I can understand this dad's feeling of like, well, crap, I see a little something now.
Yeah. Rocha, did they spoil it for
Oh,
for this
stop
poor man?
it.
No?
Stop it. Make some time and go see it. I'm so
Ooh,
sick
yelling
of us,
at Dad.
of us having to wait for your lazy ass to get into the theater and see
Oh,
the movie.
no.
Jeez,
3
you're going
months.
after his dad,
It's been out for
dude.
3 months, Dad. It's been out for 3 months. You know what you could have done? Don't mow the lawn one Saturday afternoon and go see the movie. You can mow the lawn on Sunday afternoon. Enjoy your kid's birthday party. Make sure everything's squared away and then go see the movie. You know what? Don't go out drinking with your buddies at the bar after work. Go see the movie. You can make time for things you care about, and I'm tired of us as a society having to wait for you to find time. I get it, a month, 2, fine. 3? No. You have no excuse. I'm sorry you couldn't get to it. I guarantee you there was a night you could have gone, instead of watching a TV movie on Flex, you could have gone to your local theater and seen the movie. So this is my point. I get it, but at some point, if you're not going to catch up, we don't have to wait for you. Like,
It's
I'm
not always
tired
about
of it.
time, Rocha.
I think it's all about time.
Oh,
you
I
make
think
time for
there's
things you
other
care about.
factors.
What other factors would that be?
Maybe the cost of going to a theater and having to see a movie like this, whereas
LA is,
if
you
you're
can't put it
going-
in LA terms.
if you're
LA terms
going
is
to-
$20.
If you're going to see a movie in theaters and you have the mentality of, oh, I'm going to want to buy the Blu-ray too, but I got to pick between one or the other, I can understand someone waiting to spend that money buying the Blu-ray so they can own it and rewatch it
Absolutely,
over and over.
but by choosing that route, you're putting yourself in a position where it's perilous that you could get a spoiler. So that's the decision you have to factor into. If you're going to make that decision, there are possible consequences. That's it. Look, I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
I can't say I disagree with you. I just think you're a bit of an asshole.
He's just more cutthroat. He's more cutthroat.
You're
make
like,
time for the
Dad,
things I
get
care
off
about."
your ass. Stop mowing the lawn and go see Star Wars.
Did you watch
Stop
that?
working your 5 jobs
Yeah,
to
stop
pay for your
working.
mortgage and your.
Okay, all right. No one's saying that.
Yeah,
But if you watch the
take care
NFL
of
game
your
for 3 hours,
kids.
if you watch the NFL game for 3 hours of playoffs, you could have gone to see the movie instead.
You know what?
Those are the things, your choices in life.
My dad was able to get off his ass and go see it, and I'm proud of my dad because he does not watch movies. He only watches the ones that really he wants to see. Last Jedi was one of those, and when I asked him what he thought of it, he was like, wish I mowed the lawn. But that was my dad, and that was it for us today on Collider Movie Talk on this Friday edition. I want to thank the panel for joining me, Dennis, Perri, and Rocha. Make sure you tune in on Monday. We will be back with a live Collider Movie Talk, and we will see you then, guys.
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.